Well, thank you and good afternoon. I only got 10 minutes, so it has to be a very short story, and all the words are already mentioned, so it's pretty hard to find some new words and some new facts. So I'm going to concentrate on the things we're currently doing and the status we're in. We're building a data space solution within DMI, and I'll tell you where we are at this moment. Let's see. Yeah, that's my name. Exactly. I'm not going to do the broad introduction of my company, but Luminus is a Dutch consultancy firm, IT company. Within that company, there's a small division called Luminus Technology. That's where we develop new technology. And I'm in charge of that company. And Luminus is part of a bigger European IT company that's called 𝐬𝐷𝐷, and it's based in Belgium and in Holland. Enough about the company. Now, what is a data space? I'm not going to explain that, so I'm going to skip some of the slides to avoid that I'm telling the same thing over and over again. I see that my slides are also messed up, just like slides from the others. The reason we went into this area of data space is we were confronted in England in 2020 with some hospitals, and they wanted to share data, client data, patient data, to do some analysis, but they were not allowed and they were not willing to share the data with each other. So that was a typical business case, and we were looking for kind of way to have a federated solution. For people who are making pictures, the picture is nicer if I send it to you myself, and the lines are correct. So we were really searching for a federated solution. What we saw in all the solutions that were available in the market is that it's always the middle one. It's almost always a central data platform where you can store your data, define who has access to the data, role-based or whatever. But in the end, that's not what we want. And in fact, if you translate it to the Dutch word, delen van data, in fact, we're not sharing data, but we give people access to data. So in my opinion, the word data sharing is not the right word for what we are doing, at least. In our vision, we really believe in giving people access to your own data and be completely in control. That's the reason why we, let me first explain this. And giving access, what is giving access? Well, that can be on various levels. It starts with just giving people access to a data set, a set of data, or one data element. But in the end, our aim is to go to the upper right of this graph, and to make it be able to bring the processing to the data instead of to bring the data to the processing. So that's the phase we're currently in. As I mentioned, we started off with DMI. Vincent mentioned it this morning in 2023. And I think in the left corner, that's where we are currently. So currently we have a platform implemented where you can share data sets in all kinds of forms, Excel files, relational databases, whatever. And for the upcoming year, on our roadmap, we're going to develop a solution where you can also do federated machine learning and bring indeed processing to the data instead of vice versa. The way we implemented it is really conform the standards of the IDSA and the general knowledge of data spaces. We have a governance plane, a control plane, and a data plane. Within DMI, I'm going to skip this. Within DMI, this looks like this. And what we did, we wrote a project plan that was granted by the NGF and by DMI in 2023 with our consortium partners, Dexus. They're responsible for the control plane. Joost will tell something about it later on. And we are responsible for the data plane, and we do that together with some partners, Equinix. They're going to tell a story as well later on, and Dell Technologies. And we have been implementing that now for 5 quarters. And of course, we're doing this with iSHARE within DMI. DMI has chosen to use iSHARE, and we've got a up and running production environment ready where we just integrated iSHARE. So, then if you look at, some of you might know this picture. So what are we implementing? The green bars in this picture, those are the parts that we are implementing currently. and that are up and running and in production in a beta version since last quarter last year. And then to zoom in a little bit into the architecture, this is not our picture, of course, this is the picture of the IDSA. And if you look at our implementation, this is what we have implemented so far. We've been using the data space protocol, the latest one, 2024 version 1. Yesterday, I had a call with IDSA. We tried to certify our own components. But I fortunately heard that certifying this latest protocol is not yet possible. So we have to wait till summer this year. But we're in the process of getting this stuff certified. So what we deliver is data stations for both data users and data owners. We do the mapping with their own data formats into this data station. And it's like the data connector. But it also has a nice user interface where the users can, in an easy way, manage their data, can see what data they have been sharing, how the data has been used by whom, and they can very easily define what parts of the data can be shared under what circumstances, so include policies, etc. Currently, we're hard working on the vocabulary server to match the semantics for people who are sharing data from various sources. And all the blue colors, the light blue colors, we have, that's something that's really running right now. So it's not an architecture model, it's just software that's running currently in our cloud environment and ready for use. And we're very happy to share our knowledge and our experience with anyone here in this room. I don't think this is, well, this is another architecture piece. So if you make use of our data space connector, this is typically a configuration that you will use. So on your side, in your own environment, you have the data space connector with an integration to your own data source. There's a catalog. Later on, I think you will tell something about that as well, Joost. So everything that you publish via our data station in the data space will also be published in the catalog, and with the DMI, that's the PDX. Well, our biggest takeaways from this process, from almost 1.5 years, is the data spaces, and that has been said before, is all about trust and agreements. It's not just technology. Technology is a part of it, but that's just a small part. And what we really believe is that the federated data strategies, they really become important. So not transport your data, not give away your data, just give people access to your data and make sure that you have an environment where you can manage that on a business level. What we also see is that the data spaces are really fast growing, but that's what we see all day with all the initiatives I hear. And the other thing, and I didn't hear a lot about that yet, I also talked to a lot of customers who want to be able to work in a data space, but when they then look at their own data maturity, the way they handle their data, they store their data in their own organizations, well, there's a lot of work to be done there. And I think that doesn't really help to speed up this process. What we see is that there's a lot of delay on that side. Yeah, and in the end, digital sovereignty, yeah, that's really the key point for us in our solution. No questions? I heard so. Yeah. Okay, well, this was my presentation. If you want to know more about and hear more about our implementation and our lessons learned, please let me know. I'll be around all afternoon.